And welcome to Networking Know-How. I'm so glad you are here. It's so good to see you. I'm live from my mom's house. Had to take care of some things for her today, and it feels kind of weird being here without her here. For those that don't know, I've been a caregiver, and unfortunately, we transitioned my mom, and her funeral was last week. And it goes along with the topic for today. So let me kind of introduce what we're going to be talking about because it's really good. It's how to have meaningful conversations. And if you're like me, and you feel a little awkward and you don't know what to say, when I would approach somebody else who is in a similar situation to myself, maybe they're caregiving or maybe they've just lost a family member, you don't even know what to say, this is going to be a great topic for you. Or maybe you're just kind of done with the meh of it all. You really are just looking for more meaningful conversations, period, full stop. This is going to be good for you too, because I'm going to be sharing with you the formula for meaningful conversations. It's super simple. There's a template that can be used over and over and over in any situation, whether it's online, whether it's sending a message to people in social or in person. And it can be applied in any work situation and any personal situation, because I'm going to be able to share with you from the receiving end of some of these questions that I always talk about how it makes the person feel, especially since I just came off all the caregiving and having the funeral this past weekend. I really have some great experience that I think we can all tap into, and I can share some of this insight for you. Now, we have not yet met. My name is Laura Morlando, the Stress Commando, and I am the founder and CEO of Down and Dirty Networking. So what the heck is Down and Dirty Networking? We're an online community focused 100% on relational networking. We are not a traditional networking or transactional networking community. We're an online community that 100% focuses on relational networking. So what is relational networking? It's having meaningful conversations to learn from and about somebody to build lasting and authentic relationships. We don't do meh here at Down and Dirty Networking. It's deeper connections, deeper conversations. So let's dig into the topic. I see a couple of you watching live, so thank you so much for watching live. All right, so the formula is very, very simple. The first part of the formula is having meaningful questions. Now, we've talked a lot about questions here in the past, and we've given you a bunch of tips. And my overall favorite question is, what's the best thing that has happened to you recently? And this question comes from Amanda Gore, a speaker, and I've used it over and over. But what's so great about this is how you can adjust this. So if you're in a situation like what I just went through, what you might want to ask me would be, Laura, as the caregiver, what was like the best thing for you? Something really simple, could be really easy. Now, last week I shared a question that was asked from someone who admitted they were feeling awkward, and they said, Laura, tell me about your mom. This could be adjusted. Tell me about your project. Tell me about what's going on at what you're doing right now. What do you love about what you do? These are all ways that you can modify it. So the best thing that happened to you can be modified and absolutely work in a more meaningful way. It's a whole lot better than how are you, or any of the other questions that we ask that are more platitudes when we first see somebody or first meet somebody. So hopefully this will kind of give you some helpful hints on where you can go. Now, the next question that is a great version of that is to say, Laura, what are you most proud of that you accomplished as a caregiver? What are you most proud of that you learned about your mom during this time? Because anyone that's going through a caregiver experience is going to learn things about the person they're giving care to that they didn't already know. They're going to get a deeper understanding. And so what are you most proud of is an easy thing to be able to position for either them as the caregiver or for the person they're taking care of. Now, you can apply this to any work situation. Ooh, I see some more people watching live. Get up and chat. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know where you're watching from. Say hello. All right, so the other thing would be, Laura, if you were positioning this for somebody else at work, what are you the most proud of that you're working on right now? What are you the most proud of so far this year in 2024? Those are things that are great questions. They're open-ended. They're more meaningful, and you're going to be able to draw more out of somebody than just, hi, how are you? So what's the best thing? You want to go ahead and try. Excuse me, I was trying not to cough. Ooh, I'm getting verklempt. Excuse me. Wow. Welcome to real life, getting verklempt. Okay, so I'm going to have to walk and get some water. So you're going to get to see me walking around my mom's house. Wow. I should know better. I should always have water handy because you just never know when it's going to hit you. Welcome to the flare up of my world. I'm getting some water. Excuse me. All right, let me go back where I had really good lighting. I hadn't been able to shoot inside mom's house because I was always trying to not disturb her. And so now I get to talk to the plants and make sure they feel loved. All right, so getting a little bit of water so I'm not so verklempt. All right, excuse me, but thank you. So back to the question. So welcome to what I experience. Welcome to seeing authentic me. When things get emotional, the throat closes in, coughing is definitely something that occurs. So shame on me for not having water handy. I should know better. You should always be prepared. Your prep is either showing or lack thereof not showing. So there you go. You got to see me verklempt. Okay, so best thing that happened to you. What are you proud of? What is something that you loved that you learned about your mom? So if someone's working on a project, you say, what have you loved learning while working on this project? What's something new that you learned? What's something you didn't know? These are all really great versions of the same question, which are really, really quite awesome. And I would have different answers for every one of those questions. Now, that's part one of having a meaningful conversation, is having meaningful questions. And all you need is maybe 2 or 3 of those questions that you really love, and then just tweak them for whatever situation you're in. You can even type them in a chat to somebody. Super simple, super easy to do. The second part is to listen in a meaningful way. So meaningful questions plus meaningful listening is how you have meaningful conversations. Here's what I mean by meaningful listening. It's more than the act of listening. It's meaningful listening. And here's what I mean by that. So if someone says, I'm really proud about what I've learned, and this is what I thought about it, it's easy for us to interpret what we think this means because we're applying our own self to it. When you're going deeper, active listening, you would say, oh, I learned something similar, and we'd relate and share one of our own stories. But I'm going to pause and I'm going to tell you to resist that and go deeper before you relate. By going deeper, what you're going to do is say, you love that. Well, tell me a little bit more. What specifically did you love? Prevent you from interpreting what you think they mean. When you can go deeper and not interpret what you think they mean, but actually ask and understand what they mean, that is where you have meaningful listening. And then you can share something that may or may not relate. So, for example, I had a lot of people that were noticing as I was walking up to go speak during the funeral when we were live casting it. Laura, you look so tired by how slow you were walking. They were assuming and imposing what they were interpreting, what they were seeing. And they weren't seeing tiredness. Now, make no mistake, I'm thoroughly exhausted, but that's not what they were seeing. What they were seeing was pain and exhaustion and weakness. My legs weren't working, and my legs will sometimes not work very well or be very weak when I'm very much like emotional stressed or in a flare. And I can't think of something more stressful than being at a funeral and speaking, especially when I haven't done that on a stage in years. So what you were witnessing was more what I experienced that you can't see here in the digital space. And so it was interesting how, as I was talking to different people, they were so interested in telling me something, which I loved hearing. But there was this meaningful listening that didn't occur. And there was a couple that did and would go deeper and wanted to actually hear what I had to say. And I had to realize I'm that awkward person that keeps talking when I don't know what to say. I'm guilty of this. And so I realize now I've learned some things where I can be better, where I can listen in a meaningful way, not just simply active listening, but listen in a meaningful way. By asking meaningful questions, I can level up my conversations and help people feel more connected to me and that I genuinely care and I genuinely want to hear what's going on. So I really hope that this is helpful. Even if you can listen through all of the verklempt, I see some more people watching. You can go back and laugh at it's live because you're going to hear how it's live. But that's the formula. Meaningful questions, leverage some of that template, Meaningful listening. Go deeper. Don't interpret. Don't assume you know what they mean. Ask the follow up question to let them tell you what they mean and then relate to somebody. Try as hard as you can to not assume or interpret what you're seeing or hearing, and it will absolutely level up your conversations, regardless of whether they're in person, whether they're personal, or whether it's with a coworker, vendor, client, anybody. See, we believe here that relational networking is a mindset, and it's something that can be used with anyone. I had a lot of fun asking some really deep questions of my family members, of all the stories that I've heard my mom share over the past several months and to hear their side of that story. I could have been so curious to tell mine. I wanted to know theirs and take advantage of the opportunity that they were here to share it with me. So you have an opportunity to take advantage of people being in front of you and available to you to be able to share it with them. And this is how you have more meaningful conversations and more connectedness. All right, I hope this is helpful. Drop me a comment or a thumbs up and let me know what you think. What would help you have more meaningful conversations? What questions could you ask? How could you listen in a more meaningful way? So, meaningful questions plus meaningful listening is how you have meaningful conversations. All right, thank you so much for staying with me. If you would like some more networking tips, please stay tuned to the Down and Dirty Networking YouTube channel. We've got different playlists curated for you. You can go and take advantage of all of those tips. And when you apply this relational networking mindset to your traditional networking, everything changes. Trust me on that. Everything changes in the best way possible. You skyrocket your reputational capital. No more meh conversations. Things are more meaningful, and you will find things are better results for you too. So make sure that you check that out. Make sure that you check out our Facebook and LinkedIn pages for Down and Dirty Networking because we share articles and tips for you to learn more about how to network more stress-free and more connected and have no more med networking. Just really have more meaningful conversations like we do in our Down and Dirty Networking community. In fact, if you check out our LinkedIn and Facebook pages, we just dropped our latest newsletter, Networking Boost. So you can go and check that out and get some of those free tips as well. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everyone watching live. And stay tuned every Wednesday afternoon, sometime between 3:30 and 5:30 p.m. Central. I go live with more tips here for networking know-how to help you level up your game. And I share a little bit of insight of what's working, what's not working, and things I learned in real life. So thanks so much for being with me here and giving me some space and grace as I get all verklempt and keep moving forward. And let's connect. Drop me a DM if there's something that I can do to help you have more meaningful conversations, because that's what we're all about here at Down and Dirty Networking. All right, have a great week. And until we speak again next Wednesday, happy networking.